let's do this again. Sorry. So these are our notes today. What is a proportional relationship? A proportional relationship is when you compare two things. So when you compare two things and they are constant. So what do I mean by that? Let's say that I have you eat 5 cookies every day. Okay, that would be like diabetes in a basket, first of all. But let's just say you eat 5 cookies every day. Then that is your relationship. I'm comparing how many cookies you eat per day. So cookies per day is your comparison, and it's constant. 5 cookies a day, 5 cookies a day, 5 cookies a day, 5 cookies a day. All right. Or what if I were to say I make $20 an hour? So you're comparing dollars per hour. So that's constant. You are making $20 an hour, $20 an hour, $20 an hour, $20 an hour. Or if I were to say, today I mowed 3 lawns, and then tomorrow I mow 1 lawn, and then the next day I mow 7 lawns. That's not constant, right? Because it's not the same number over and over. So constant means that it's the same number over and over and over. All right. So what is the constant of proportionality then? That's going to be the letter K, and I'll explain that in a minute, but just write it down first. I feel like it always makes more sense once we do examples. So the letter K is your constant. And please remember to find K, you're always going to do y divided by x. Okay, so now you have a proportional relationship equation, okay? So this is not going to make any sense, but again, it's going to make more sense once we actually practice, okay? The proportional relationship equation is y equals k times x. So y equals k times x. So the y is always going to be the letter y. The x is always going to stay as the letter x. And then the letter k is going to always be some number. And how do you find k? You do y divided by x. Okay, so finish writing this down and then let's actually try some. I think that it'll make more sense once we actually practice so you know what you're doing. Trevor, put that away, please. Put your computer away.
Oh, I'm doing it with Candy. I don't have a pencil.
Well, then why don't you ask for one? Here. It'll be much easier to write. Here. Okay, so let's do this. Write an equation that describes the proportional relationship between the number of cats and paws. So first of all, I want to clarify. Let's not talk about mutated cats or cats that were born with, 7 legs, whatever. We have normal cats, okay? Normal, healthy cats. So let's fill out this table first. So when I have cats, if I have one normal, healthy cat, a normal, healthy cat has 4 paws, right? Every cat has 4 paws. So Dylan, how many paws do 2 cats have? So normally you would just do 2 times 4, right? Because every cat has 4 paws, so you get 8. Can someone raise their hand and say no, the answer for 12? Frankie? So thank you, Frankie. 3 cats have 12 paws. Okay, so for 4, Ethan, go. So 4 times 4, because every cat has 4 paws. 4 times 4 is 16. And then Brooke, what do you think for the 20? Because 5 times 4 is 20. So hopefully that makes sense. You want to find what you're multiplying by, right? Times 4, times 4, times 4, times 4. Because every cat has 4 paws. That's your constant. Okay? Now, here it says let x represent and let y represent. Let me tell you guys something. This is something you have to memorize. Whenever I have a table, the x is always the top row and the y is always the bottom row. Okay, whenever you label something, the x is always on top, the y is always on the bottom. That's just a rule. Okay, when you label, the x is on top, the y is on the bottom. So when this question says, let x represent, look at the x, the top row, what word does x stand for? AJ? The cats, because x is right here, represents the cats, which means the y, someone different. What word does the y stand for then? Dylan?
Pause.
Pause, good job. Because remember, again, this is something you have to memorize. X is on top, Y is on the bottom when you label. Now here's the hard part, and I think here's the new part, okay? What's the equation that describes the relationship? My equation looks like this. Y equals K times X. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna write Y equals something times X. Because remember how I said the Y is always the letter Y, the X is always the letter X. This is some number. This is the number that gets multiplied over and over and over and over and over. Ethan, what is it?
4.
Okay, so hopefully you know that it's 4, but maybe you don't know that it's 4. So how can you figure it out? Remember to find the K, because this is K right here. It says to find K, do Y divided by X. So I'm just going to take this point. I have a Y, which is 4, and I have an X, which is 1. 4 divided by 1 is 4. That's how I got this 4 right here. If you don't want to use this one, then why don't we do this one? 8 divided by 2 is 4. 12 divided by 3 is 4. 16 divided by 4 is 4. So it all equals 4. It doesn't matter which number or which point I choose. I'm always going to get a constant of 4. Okay, so let's just keep on trying this. Let's do the hard part, okay? Here's another table. I want to write the equation. So remember, my equation is y equals something times x. So that's how I'm going to start. Henry, pick it up, throw it away. We're not doing that in class right now. No, Henry, thank you. No, Frankie, give it back to him. It is his. He can throw it away. All right. So for this, here's my table. Now let's see this again, okay? Kai, when I label, the top letter or the top row is always what? The X or the Y? Kai, the X, thank you. Kai, on the bottom, the letter is always what? Y, thank you. So I have X's here and Y's on the bottom. So remember, to figure out this number, what I always do is I take this and I divide Y by X. That's the rule. To figure out this number, you always divide Y by X. So Henry, what number is the Y here? What number is the Y?
140.
So I do 140 divided by, Henry, what number is the X? 5. So I'm doing 140 divided by 5. And remember, you have a calculator now. So please just give yourself a little bit of a break. You get 28. So I know then that this number is 28. Now, if you didn't want to use this, that's okay. Use the next point. 224 divided by 8. That's 28. 420 divided by 15. That's 28. Notice how it doesn't matter which point you choose. It's always going to be 28 because it's constant. It's proportional. Okay, now let's do this one. This one's a little bit harder. We haven't even seen something like this. I have a picture of a graph. My final answer is going to be y equals something times x. I still have to divide y by x, but I don't know where my numbers are. Dylan, what do you think?
Answer 5.
How do you know that?
Because 1 times 5, x times 5. I don't know.
Okay, so can someone tell us then? It is 5, you're right. Trevor, how do you know it's 5?
Because you divide the top from the bottom.
You divide what?
Top from the bottom.
The top from the bottom. Okay, so this is what he's talking about. You see a bunch of dots. That's your data. So here's your dot. So this dot, first of all, we learned yesterday is something comma something. Okay, so look at this point and think to yourself, okay, Dylan, this is what comma what?
1, 5.
So remember, we always do your right, left first and then up, down. That's why it's 1 comma 5. We also learned yesterday that this is the X number, this is the Y number. So to see what this is, what you always do, Y over X, we can say your Y number is 5, your X number is 1, 5 divided by 1 is 5. That's why it's 5 right here. Or you can do here, 10 divided by 2, 15 divided by 3. It all gives you 5. Yeah. Let's try this one now. This one is slightly different. Okay, Frankie, go.
So it'd be let me see. So that is 225.
Okay, so how do you do that? Because you're right.
There's a line. Or actually, I divided top from the bottom.
Okay, so this is what he did. First of all, he didn't see any dots. Like we had dots here, but we don't have dots here. So I want to tell you, if you don't see any dots, you can create your own dots. You can't just be like, oh, here, let me just choose a dot right there. That's not going to work, okay? Yeah, so you have to choose one where it goes straight through the corner of a square. So like right here, right here, right here, right here, right here, right here, right here. You can use any of those dots. I'm not going to use this first one just because I don't see any numbers, but this one has numbers. So for this dot right here, it looks like it's 2, 450. So just like what we did before, here's my x, here's my y. To figure out this number, I go y over x's. So if I divide y over x's, Alex, which number is my y number? So 450 divided by Alex, what number is my x number? 2. So 450 divided by 2, just use your calculator, gives me 225. That's how I know that it's 225. Okay, Frankie, turn around. All right, so everything that we've done so far is something called a proportional relationship, okay? What I need you to know is that graphs of proportional relationships, these are proportional, these are the graphs, they look like what type of line? Straight or curvy? Straight. So they are straight. They are always going to be straight lines, and it always goes through the
Corner.
The what?
Corner.
What corner?
Top right corner.
That could be the left.
No.
Starts with an O. Origin. It always goes through right here. 0, 0, 0, 0. Okay, so please remember that a proportional relationship is always going to be a straight line, and it always goes through the origin, which is 0, 0. Okay. All right. Finally, you know that something is proportional when your y over x's equal the same value, right? When you do 140 over 5, 224 over 8, 420 over 15, when they all equal the same number, then you know that it has to be proportional. Okay, finish writing this down, then we're going to move on to something just a tiny bit different, but not really. Yes, just next thing. We're almost done, guys. When y divided by x is equal to the same value. Okay, let's try number 5. Now, we're not writing the equation. All I want to say is yes or no, is this proportional, and then why? Yes, Frankie?
And no.
Why?
Because 0 is in 10 under 0.
Because why?
I don't know.
Okay, so you're right, it is no, but I still need to know why. Yes, Ethan?
Each time the x goes by 1 or 2.
That's what I was trying to say.
And when you do multiply 1 times 10, it's not going to equal 11.
Okay. Okay, yes. So let me basically re-explain what Ethan was saying. So first of all, are the following tables proportional? Remember, if it's proportional, you know that something is proportional when y divided by x equals the same value. So let's look at this table and let's label, okay? When I have a table here, Maddie, on the top row, is it the x or the y's? Okay, so the bottom would be what letter? Okay, so we said that for something to be proportional, your y's over x's have to be the same thing. So if I divide y over x, Frankie, turn around. I have my y here and my x here. So let's divide. Y is 10 divided by x. I would have to divide that, and it has to equal the same thing as this one, which is y over x, and this one, which is y over x, and this one, which is y over x. Well, let's see that. So let's do the first one. 10 divided by 0, you see that it equals error. Divide by 0. Well, that's because you're just not allowed to divide by 0.
If it was adding it, you could.
Yes. So this says error. That means that every single answer for it to be proportional has to say error, error, error. But what is 11 divided by 1? 11. So you already know. I don't even have to do this stuff. I already know that these two are not equal, which means that no, it is not proportional. So it's not proportional because your y over x's are not equal. They don't all equal the same thing. So for something to be proportional, your y's over x's have to equal the same thing. Okay, we're just going to do one more on this side. Do you guys want to do number 6 or number 7? 6. All right, let's take a look at number 6. So for this one, let's do the same thing. See if it's proportional, yes or no, and we also have to say why. Okay, so let's label. Johnny, on top, is it the x's or the y's? The x's are on top. Good. Johnny, on the bottom, is it the x's or the y's? Okay, so remember, to see if something is proportional, Frankie, turn around. What you have to do is you have to divide your y's by x's. Okay, so when I do y divided by x, Brooke, is it 8 divided by 16 or 16 divided by 8? Okay, and so Brooke, what is 16 divided by 8? Okay, so let's do the next one. Y divided by x. Alex, is it 10 over 20 or 20 over 10? Try again. Because it's y divided by x. So it's 20 over 10. Alex, what is 20 divided by 10? Okay, so far so good, but we have to keep going. Next one, Henry, is it 11 over 22 or 22 over 11? Yes. Henry, what is 22 divided by 11? Okay, so you can't just be like, oh, it looks like they're all the same. No, you have to try every single one because maybe they're trying to trick you. Jasmine, for the last one, is it 15 over 30 or 30 over 15? Okay, Jasmine, what is 30 divided by 15? What is 30 divided by 15? Stop distracting her. Use your calculator, that's fine too. 2. Good. So you get equal 2, equal 2, equal 2, equal 2. So Dylan, yes or no? Is this proportional?
Yes.
Yes, and you would have to say because your y over x's are equal. They are equal, so it is proportional. Okay, don't cross out number 7. Don't cross out number 8 because you're going to do those by yourself later. Okay, you're going to watch the video and do it later. The last one we're going to do together is number 9, and then you're going to do 10 and 11 by yourself on the computer. Okay? All right, so number 9. When x is 20, y is 36. Find y when x is 50. So remember, let's label. So when I label, what is on top, the x or the y?
X.
X is on top and y is on the bottom when I label. So let's label this. When x is 20, so 20 is on top because we said x's were on 20. Y is 36. So I'm going to say 36 is on the bottom because y's are 30. The y's are on the bottom. So find y when x is 50. So when x is 50, hush please. When x is 50, so does 50 go on the top or the bottom, do you think? The top, because x's, we said when we label, go on top. So let's just put y here. So this is called a proportion. You learned about this last year. Your teacher might have said butterfly method, baseball method, airplane method. Does anyone remember what you have to do with these numbers? Frankie?
What about it?
Okay, so what?
You multiply across.
Okay, so what 2 numbers do you multiply?
Actually, I like the fisherman.
That's fine. What 2 numbers do you multiply?
You multiply 36 and 50,
And then what?
and then that equals that, and then you divide
By.
20.
And then that's how you get your fishing method, your airplane method, your baseball method, whatever. So now that you have a calculator, you can just type it all in your calculator. And that's how you get 90 as your answer. Okay, that's your answer. But guys, I want to show you why. Like your teacher taught you the trick, but they might not have shown you why that actually works. You don't have to write this down, but because we just finished that chapter, I want to show you why this works. You multiply across. So you have 36 times 50, and that equals 20 times y. So what did we do? Like we drew our line going down. We said that 36 times 50, use your calculator, is 1800 equals 20y. Then what did you do? You had to divide both sides by 20 to get y by itself. That's why you get 90 equals y. So this is like the algebra behind it. No, I'm just showing you why this trick works. Your teachers taught you a trick last year, but I don't know if you truly know why the trick actually works. You can't just make up some random trick. Okay, so this is why it actually works. All right, at this time, you are going to turn on your Chromebooks and you are going to go click the link of the video and you're going to watch number 7, watch number 8, and watch numbers 10 and 11. So there's 4 problems you're going to watch by yourself, and that is your asynchronous for today. There is no official